The slight favourites, their loss to Footscray last week was a close one, while Brisbane's win over Sydney was a bit of a struggle. What's more, Brisbane's track record in Melbourne is not great, just 8 wins in 7 years. In for the Tigers, Matthew Knights; for the Bears, Nathan Chapman, Troy Lehman and Craig Starcevich. Richmond got off to a good start and we pick up play with 12 minutes remaining in the first quarter and the Tigers leading by 14 points. Your commentators, Peter Landy, Ian Robertson and Gerard Healy.
Here's McIver for the Bears. Kicks to the far side of the ground, good distance, out in the Clark direction, and he does well. That should be a mark, surely. Leslie, under pressure, gets the hand pass away. Taken by Greg Deere. Little kick, Fletcher. Quickly, Adrian Fletcher back near the centre. The bounce very important. But making it his was Tate. And Tate's kick to half forward was excellent. The mark is taken by Brendan Gale. Great football by Jamie Tate in the centre of the ground for the Tigers.
Well, I've got to say that I'm a little bit disappointed with the intensity of the Brisbane Bears in this early juncture of time. Now, there's not much the champion can do about that, and there won't be anything that the other Bear defenders will be able to do against their taller counterparts if there isn't the pressure being applied by the Bears midfielders, and that's just come into the forward line too easily.
Like the way this guy shoots at goal, Brendan Gale. It's a long kick, close, just off to the right. And this is for his first score of the day, which is a behind. So the Tigers peppering away in the early part of the game. They're 2 goals 3, 15. Lead the Bears yet to score. The Bears have been forward a couple of times. The quarter is about 15 minutes old. The kick in towards the member side and a free kick paid to the Bears. So the advantage goes with Fletcher. 2 bounces. He kicks in towards centre half forward, looking for Starcevich, and a good mark taken by Craig Starcevich.
Wasn't it a great kick from Adrian Fletcher?
Gave the forward a chance to run into the football. Hughes, handball wider still to Chapman. Chapman in towards half forward. Excellent jump by Darryl White. Well, we've sung the praises of Darryl White over the last 12 or 18 months, and there's another example of the skill level of that player.
He kicked a great goal last week, Robbo. Oh, terrific stuff, wasn't it?
Mark of the day.
Just watch this the way you'll see Pios. He's already off screen. He made the initial lead, which created the gap for White to run into.
White goes for goal and puts it through. So, about 2/3 away through the first quarter, Darryl White kicks his first goal, and it's 15 plays 6 the Tigers lead.
Well, they definitely needed that. We might flash up on this one. Let's see if we can pick Pios up. Nice kick from Chapman. He was there, but you'd have to be good to pick him up. But that was a fine mark out in front, on the hands by an exciting player. Being picked up by Bullis.
Back to the centre.
Quite accomplished backman.
Richmond ball. Greg Deere got it out. He might get a chance to get it again free. Applies a hip and shoulder. Gale goes in. And that's holding the ball, says the umpire. It's against the Bears. It's going to be a Richmond free kick. Goes to Greg Deere. Well, one of those ones could have gone either way. Hand pass comes out in the direction of Bond. At left half forward, Bond. Century kick looking for Richardson again. Tries to get front posse. Couldn't do so. Chapman was there. Scott, quick hand pass. Rebounds to McLean. And Brisbane will get clear. Kennedy, the safe hands off. At left half back. One-on-one duel on centre wing. Starcevich had the front posse, couldn't take it. Away they go now. This is Lehman. White, the most exciting play. Terrific hand pass. Oh, Pios, you're caught. Great tackle. The umpire has paid a free kick to Brisbane.
Definitely legged him, I think, Pete.
Gee, it was good football by the Bears to get up there, though.
Once again, the Pios goes early, and then he ducked back. White got the initial one.
Well, good rugby tackle, wasn't it?
It was. I wonder why they don't make them legal in our game. It was a great tackle.
It was very desperate stuff there by Douglas Callaway, but just slipped down a little bit too low.
He grabbed him in the right spot first. It, as you said, slipped a little bit too low. So Paul Pios, formerly of the West Coast Eagles, has the chance for his first, and Brisbane second. Goal umpire doesn't move, all clear.
So Richmond lead by 3 points. 8 3/4 minutes left in the first quarter. Again, a very consistent bounce gives Greg Deere the chance to bash it clear, but it's taken by Chapman for the Bears. A kick across his right shoulder, out in front of Lehman, chased down by Tate. Lehman taps it to his own advantage, then an attempted kick off the ground was ineffective. Tate wasn't too bad. Lees and Turner trying to combine out there. Lees and Campbell it was, and it's forced over for a boundary throw-in. 2-3 the Tigers. 2 goals the Bears. Goals for Richmond coming from Rogers and Richardson, and for the Bears, Pios and Darryl White. Little kick off the ground attempted by Francis was ineffective. Hughes tries to crash his way through. Tackled by Gale. Umpire sees that as a, well, non-existent possession, so he will bounce about 5 or 6 metres from the forward left-hand point of the square. There's the time remaining in the first term. Kennedy tries to get clear. Elliott gets it back to his former Fitzroy teammate in Michael Gale. Gale, who has been just riddled with injury in his league career. The kick to half forward, taken by Dundas, tries to spin clear, eventually gets the handball to Campbell, does something with the football. On most occasions does Wayne Campbell, up towards full forward. It's punched away by Richardson from McIver and forced over for a rush behind to Richmond. 2-4 plays 2 goals. Tigers lead by 4 points, and Scott McIver, we've already mentioned, has got a bit of a battle on his hands back there at full-back.
Yes, big task. That's the biggest down there today for Scotty McIver. Ashcroft, nearly had his head taken off by Francis, but he'll take the free kick and right half back. Terrific little player, Marcus Ashcroft. He gives 100%. Coaches can't ask for any more. Kennedy, a terrific kick if he gets onto it. Centres it, looking for Pios. Is in the middle of 2 Richmond players. There is a whistle. So the 3 umpires picking up a lot today. Free kick to Gale. Deere, talking to him on Friday, said he's looking forward to a round 21 clash when Richmond plays Hawthorn. He'll be against his brother for the first time. 50 metres.
Nathan Chapman just trying to hold Greg Deere up there. Quite experienced enough to do it without being penalised.
Greg Deere too far out to score. Looking for Richardson. Francis boot the ball quickly. Rogers and McLean. McLean reads it better. Boundary line might be just a little bit too close. Now it's still in play. McIver gives it back to McLean. No, he doesn't. It's out of bounds. So a throw in 55 metres out from the Richmond goal. Front of the Great Southern Stand here at the MCG.
Taking note of where the umpires position themselves. They've spoken about being in corridors. That umpire down in that 50-metre area there is in a terrific position to have a look at this ruck contest.
When there's 3, they shouldn't miss too much, although Hughes. Little kick only travels about 5 metres. 3. Across his body and does it well. Went past Dundas though. Richardson cannons into Leslie. Free, still in play. Good tackle, Scott. Nearly a throw. Umpire says they'll throw it in. It will take place in the forward pocket, only about 15 metres from the goal.
Chris Scott, big raps on his endeavour.
Yes. I say he is one of the most courageous players I've seen at the Bears for a long time.
Gale, Knight's on the ground. Gale will kick it himself. Cross his body. Ah, great pick! And a goal. Gale's most exciting players. 3-4 to 2 goals. Well, Tassie effort that one.
He's out of the ruck. Left-hand handball. It looked a bit like a give, but I think Matthew Knights would be smart enough to get the fist on it. Resulted in a good snap goal for Brendan Gale. For the first time in his career, he's playing with his brother Michael.
Clark up high. Not really effective. Knights, Bond, Campbell nearly kicked this. Campbell streams towards goal, and a brilliant goal for the Tigers. Champagne football by Richmond, finishing with their 4th goal, kicked by number 9, Wayne Campbell. And the Tigers lead now 4-4 to Brisbane 2 goals.
Matthew Clark's come off and Dion Scott's gone onto the ruck. But the interesting point here is that Wayne Campbell is playing as a midfielder coming off the wing outside the centre bouncers, and he's being picked up by Matthew Kennedy, who is about 4 inches taller than him and normally plays in the ruck.
4-4 plays 2 goals, ruck contest. Deere gets his right fist to it, goes through. Broderick, dust up back near the centre. Richardson and McIver contest. McLean, well done, Mickey McLean, can't get clear, little hand pass. Under pressure back there was Scott, got his foot to the ball, kicks it out near the wing. Troy Clark, Hughes beaten for it. Elliott wasn't bad in that contest. Broderick and Elliott combined for the Tigers, but a free kick back where the contest came from, which was the left point of the square, and it'll be taken by Fletcher for the Bears.
Emergency umpire just going back to his seat after that little dust-up. Starcevic has got it. Might be a free kick against MCG. There was not much in that, it would appear.
That move of having Matthew Kennedy coming off the centre square and onto the ball would be quite good, I think, if they got their ruckman to drop back into the hole and block up the tall Richmond forward. But it didn't appear as if Clark was able to do that.
Elliott to take to Francis. Good mark. Not too much of him, Matthew Francis, but he's bigger than you think.
And an excellent mark. Player that had missed most of last season with a shoulder injury after a pretty impressive debut in the Foster's Cup.
McIver, Sean Hart, out of bounds in front of Leslie and Francis, and it will be once again a throw-in. 65 metres from the Richmond goal, under 5 minutes left in the first quarter. It's been a good one for the Tigers so far. After they were beaten last week by Footscray by only 2 points. Came back well after a very, very slow start. They've done better here today. McLean gets taken over the boundary line, holding the ball, says the crowd. Doesn't agree. Throwing right on 50 once more. Richmond doing most of the attack in the first quarter. Dion Scott to go against Francis. Francis gets the front position. Francis just on to replace Clark. Good kick by Free. Back it comes to Campbell. Kicks across his body. Richardson doesn't get the bounce that he wants. And the Bears will be able to bring it away once more, which they do. This is Champion. Champion from right half back, kicks up towards the edge of the square. Starcevic missed what he certainly should have taken. Chapman kicks down inside 50. Paul Pios. Oh, Pios a little bit slow, dropped it when he got a push in the back. So I guess the good call was to play on. Richmond goes. Elliott, quick hand pass, and it finally comes to Gale.
And the tackle by Callaway in that passage of play was excellent on Pios, not giving away a free kick. Campbell has the football on centre wing. Handball very awkward for Michael Gale. Away goes Clark, gets it across to Kennedy. Kennedy's kick up towards the front of the goals, but dropping back and taking a good mark as Bullis.
Ball kicked in from Kennedy. Bullis did read it well.
Short kick into the centre. Mark is taken by Naish. Naish, a critical part of the Richmond setup. Must play well, I feel, if the Tigers are to do any good. Tape's kick out towards half forward. Good mark in front of his face, taken by Broderick. Back is Scott into the 50-metre area to block up that little area in front of Matthew Richardson, but nothing forthcoming there, so he goes wide to Deere. Deere lopes to the 50-metre line, kicks it high to the square. Oh, good mark! Francis, is it? Top mark. Right on the point of the square, Francis has got a chance to kick his first goal. And the Tigers could get their fifth.
Too big a leap there for Martin Leslie. He's had his problems over summer. A foot injury most of last year.
Francis kicks for goal, point blank range goal.
The name of the game is Australia.
5 Richmond goal kickers. And only one player scored 2 behind. That's Matthew Richardson. 5-4 to 2 goals. Scott loses that one out. Knight, long left footer, kicks inside 50, marking contest down there, and rebounds to Chapman. You get a second dip at this. He goes for the boundary line again, this time successfully, and hoists it over the line about 45 metres from the Richmond goal.
But I'm not just sure how long the Bears can have the luxury of playing Matthew Kennedy as an on-ball or a midfielder when they're being slaughtered down in the defensive positions.
Sounds fair comment. Free. From a standing start out in front of goal. Richardson. Mackay taps it to the boundary line. Won't quite get there. Taken over ultimately by Chris Nash. By Wayne Campbell.
There's the two I mentioned, Wayne Campbell and the player beside him, Matthew Kennedy. Very mobile for a big player, playing the ruck, midfield, or key positions. I think he's needed in defence.
Fletcher, own goal job, that one. Put it down as a rush behind to Richmond.
On a positive note for the Bears, their forward line is working terrifically well, the full forward line, if they can get the ball down there.
Scotty McIver, yes, a couple of deep breaths. 2 minutes left in the term. With a good one for Richmond. The Bears goals coming at the 15 and 17 minute mark. There's Matthew Kennedy, who, as I said before, a terrific kick. Doesn't get onto that one though. Lehman clean bowls him. Really pirates him actually. Knights. might be a little bit high. The umpire says no. Hughes picks up the crumb as well. Taken out there by Tate, Jamie Tate from the South Australian Eagles. Celebrates his 20th birthday on Tuesday. They'll be hoping for a win today. The way the Tigers are going, they should be able to achieve that. Richardson, he's kicked 1-2 already. Oh gee, doubtful hand pass. Francis took a terrific mark, capped it off with a goal. That one smothered off the boot and out of bounds. Touch for a throw-in, which will take place 5 to 10 metres from the behind post.
Yes, doing quite well, getting picked up by Martin Leslie, who trod on a light bulb last year and got an infection in his foot which troubled him for most of the season.
Tall athletic player is Matthew Francis, and to afford to play him on the half-forward flank, the Tigers doing well. Of course, Brendan Gale, Gerard mentioned earlier, an integral part of their lineup. There he does the ruck work, free, grabbed around the neck, but dipped up his head, so the umpire let it go on. Bit of a dust-up behind play between young Scott and his Richmond opponent. Goes out towards the wing, nearly taken by Knights. Gale was there, that's Brendan Gale. In goes Scott, and holding there, according to the umpire, who was adjacent beautifully by 10 metres. And the free kick will go to Richmond to be taken by Matthew Knights. Knights, who figured very prominently last year in the Brownlow medal.
Ticking down, 30 seconds left.
Must be some free Richmond players, but the Bears have 5 players on their own blocking up for Richmond. Richardson.
Knights kicks into the man on the mark. The ball bounces well within scoring distance. Chance for Greg Deere. Well done, the big guy.
And that's one of them.
Greg Deere kicks a rare goal in his VFL, AFL career, I would suggest. It's his first, and Richmond, all single goal kickers, they lead 6-5 to 2 goals.
18 for the career, Robbo, you're dead right. But as we said, Dion Scott, Greg Deere's direct opponent, was doing the right thing, blocking up the hole, but on the rebound, his opponent picked up the ball, and bang, Greg Deere a goal. 19
seconds left in the term, and Richmond well on top. Knights again, can they get another? Boy gets taken high by Champion. And finally a free kick. It's going the Bears' way. And Scott taking it. Came on to replace Clark about midway through the term. Kennedy has to beat Deere and also Dundas, which he does. Gets it away to Hart. He kicks on centre wing to no avail as the siren goes for the end of the first quarter. A good one for the Tigers. They lead 6-5, 41. Brisbane, 2 straight goals, 12 points at the MCG.
For the Tigers, who led by 29 points at the end of the first quarter. In the second, Richmond extended their lead by 7 points, and we pick up play at the start of the third quarter with the Tigers leading by 36.
Start of the third term for the MCG. The Bears with the job ahead of them if they're to get back into this match, make it 2-0. There'll be a free kick to Tony Free, not so much doubt about that after the hit out was taken by Clark.
I don't agree with
50 metres.
Marcus Ashcroft had the football, and it was his Richmond opponent that knocked the ball out of his hands. I'd like to have another look at that, because all of a sudden now, this 50-metre penalty has got to be severely looked at too, Jerry.
The same for years. It's got to come back to at least 25.
It's too far.
A joke.
Well, they're trying it out in the waffle this year, as I understand it. It's about 35 metres out directly in front, judging by lack of crowd noise down there. He's missed it, so a minor score. Kicked by Tony Free.
Well, the Bears have shifted Dion Scott to full forward. I can't pick up Darryl White. Perhaps Dipper can let us know if he's on the bench.
71-34 in Richmond's favour. Kick out to the members' side. Oh, good mark to Clark. That's Matthew Clark.
I've got Darryl White now up on the half-forward flank, getting picked up by Bond.
Play on. So says the umpire. Clark goes for the hand pass. Gets it away to Champion, who kicks from right half-back flank. Good mark. Oh, no, it wasn't paid to Starcevic in the end, and probably a good decision. Elliott really hold it long enough. Tigers again through Tony Free. Covering a lot of territory. That's a free kick. Leslie has the football. It's not his, though. It's going Richmond's way again. And the free kick at left centre wing to be taken by Chris Naish. Naish down towards Francis. Has he got the mark? Didn't bother to wait for the umpire's whistle. Plays on, kicks it goal. And Richardson, has he got the mark inside the line? I think he has. So he started in the first quarter
was just thinking, it was Leslie that kicked the ball back to the Richmond player, who then kicked it to his teammate. Surely he should have just held on to it for a little time while he could go and man his man up.
Richardson's kicked 2-2. He likes that one. He's now kicked 3-2. Just the start that the Bears didn't want in the third quarter. 11-11 to 5-4.
There's the big Richardson kicked 4 goals in the third quarter for Richmond last week against Footscray when they trailed so badly. Well, let's have a look at the way this one develops. Francis gets the ball on quickly, and he's been quite a player today. Very damaging with his height and mobility up forward. Richardson took a good look on the goal line. Surely should have been held up. Leslie could have manned his player up.
Well, the bounce back in the centre, 11-11 to 5-4. And the ball fed clear of the centre bounce. There was Darryl White trying to chop it off from Chris Bond. Buse. Ball taken by Ashcroft, and Ashcroft grabbed a little high. He will take the free kick just behind the wing. Marcus Ashcroft with his 8th kick, yet to deliver a handball. The ball spills to the back. Chance for Lehman. Lehman's kick to the front of the square. No mark taken. Quick recovery there by Bullis. The kick is taken by Lehman, and the free kick. It is out of bounds on the full, so the free kick in that left back pocket to be taken by Duncan Kellaway. 11-11 to 5-4. Richmond have kicked the first goal of the second half, and here is Kellaway to kick it back outside 50 metres for the Tigers. Francis probably should have taken that mark. Goes in after it again. Fed clear by Broderick. Dion Scott gets the handball clear. Michael Gale is there for Richmond. A little bit difficult to get used to that. Usually Michael Gale for Fitzroy, but crossed over to the Tigers in the summer with 2 or 3 of his mates. There's Brendan Gale, the brother. Naish loves to run with the footy. Watch this. He'll give the handball off, will he? No, he'll go for goal, and he'll put it through for a goal.
There was no way in the world he was going to give a handball away.
Well, I think you could see the players peel off as he ran down the ground, but well, little fellas find it difficult, don't they, to give the handball away. But Chris Naish did it nicely in the finish. We have another look now at this goal he just kicked.
Well, I think he was looking for the right option, and in the end, it's better to put your head down and kick a goal rather than get caught in 2 minds. So he is a good goal kicker on the run, took the responsibility and got the full result.
2 goals to Chris Naish, 2 goals to Richmond this quarter. The Bears' task getting harder by the minute. Hit out one by the Bears. Campbell. It's a Richmond ball again. Jamie Elliott. Looks different in different colours. Another Fitzroy player, former Fitzroy player. Knight's over. Bears look for a free kick. Going Richmond's way. No one standing on the mark. Knight plays on. Sun in their eyes down there. Oh, good mark to Gale. Both Gales doing well today. Ball tapped out of his hands by Buse, but no 50 metres.
Hayden Robbins coming onto the ground for his first one for the Tigers. Pete.
Now there's a free kick in the goal square.
Chris Bond coming off. And there's a big throw. Perhaps he'll get drafted by a gridiron side.
It's against McIver. He was hanging on to the jumper. I just saw it into the corner of my eye. There's the 3 umpires. You have eyes in the back of your head. This was a gimme. Richardson doing another third quarter burst as he did last week. He's got 2 for the turn for a total of 4. 13-11 to 5-4.
So Hayden Robbins has come onto the ground. He was recruited from Melbourne, played last week against Footscray, gets his run. Dipper, you've got some news for us.
Chris Bond's got a very bad cork line, and got heaps of ice on it, Gerard.
You'd know the right treatment for them. You see it getting a compression bandage on it. And reduce the swelling.
The difference now, 55 points, Peter.
All Richmond, yes, Robbo, so far in the third quarter. 3 quick goals. And you would think they just about buried the Bears from here. If they can come back, they'll be doing particularly well. However, they are a fighting side, and they'll give it everything. But away from Brisbane, it's been their Achilles heel. Not only 9 times here in more than 60 visits. That includes trips to Geelong. 8 times. Thank you, Jared. finger. Missed the scribble. Put up 2. Bounce Rogerson 50. Gale. Brother Michael's been sensational this afternoon. Leslie tries to flip it out the front to a teammate. Good tackle by Maxfield. Dumps Ashcroft. Umpire says play on. McLean will do that. Gives away a hand pass. Kick from a standing start that there on the half back line by Scott. Lobs it up towards the centre wing area. This is Troy Clark, and away he goes. Good shepherd by Fletcher.
Clark's kick up towards full forward, and a good mark taken by Darryl White. And just avoiding Jamie Tape there, who came through strongly. And Darryl White has the mark about 40 metres out directly in front. We'll have another look at, was it Tape coming through there? Yes. Stood his ground, as a matter of fact. Here goes White. White for the Bears. He's already kicked 1, and he's now kicked 2. Centre, and the Bears make it clear again. Michael McLean met very, very heavily by Lees. McLean getting up slowly. The kick goes towards half forward for the Tigers. They've got the numbers when the ball's hit the ground here. Maxfield gives it away to Campbell. Campbell on his natural right side. Kick towards full forward. Oh, brilliant football, Tigers. Can Richardson control the football? He's caught. Pios the tackler. He gets clear. Gets it away to Matthew Kennedy. Handball wider still. Martin Leslie's hand pass. Now McLean in all sorts of strife. Somehow gets the handball to Pios. Too much Larry-Fairy stuff there by the Bears. Eventually they get clear. It's an ordinary kick by Leslie, and the Tigers may go forward again. Good handball there by Elliott. Brilliant football, Lees. Away to Matthew Knights, unselfishly. Gets it to Nash. Nash goes down. Richmond still a chance to score from here. 3 it was. Trying to get the ball back to Nash. They're in trouble at half forward. Tony free. Away to Francis. Francis slams. He's put at the ball, but the mark is taken by Richard Champion in the back pocket.
Just went over the line when he took it. Goal umpire had a good look and said play on. Kennedy in front. Francis has been in everything today. Scott Turner started on the bench but came on to replace Deere. Goes across the ground with a kick. Opens it right up for Richmond. Campbell from a standing start ultimately over the head of Maxfield, his target. Ashcroft right there with him. Almost a holding decision there. Still he goes. Fletcher, was he tripped? No. Brings the ball back in, ties it up, and it's going to be a bounce. So he probably could have got a free kick there, but good decision in the end. Knocked away by Chapman, McLean, and Knights. And playing for the free kick. Finally he gets it.
Grabbed about 4 times by the jumper out there in that incident.
Correct. So Richmond finally through Tape. Kicks down to Knights, who's marked it just inside the boundary line. Bright sunshine now at the MCG. For a cloudy start to the day here in Melbourne and some rain overnight. Oh, Francis again as he got that one. Terrific mark. Gee, his aerial work today has been absolutely fantastic. 5 marks, and I think 3 of those have been pretty spectacular. Ends up limping too.
He's built like a stick, Matthew Francis, and when he does hit the ground,
a praying mantis.
Yes, it must take its toll. He was hurt
real Royce
severely. Yes, I mean he's a good player, Jared, but there's not much of him. And up in, I think it was in Lavington for the Foster's Cup last year, he was hurt early in the season and didn't feature much for the rest of the year.
I said 4 marks, so a short change if he's had 5 marks. This is kick number 12. And he's missed.
Well, they have taken Martin Leslie off the ground. He's been minding Francis for the entire game. Has been outgunned.
1 goal, 1 he's kicked, and the difference is 50 points now. 12 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Scotty McKay.
Maybe Francis on to replace Leslie.
Pretty ordinary scorecard for the Bears. Here's Pios down the ground. Kick out in the front of Lehman, who takes the mark out in front of Tape on this occasion. Troy Lehman runs on and kicks rather ordinarily, I would have thought, and it just holds up in the front and enables Lees to take the mark. Gets the hand pass away from Michael Gale. Michael Gale up towards half forward. Good mark. Excellent mark taken by his brother Brendan at left half forward.
We spoke about the half-back line for Richmond at half-time, and once again you see Michael Gale running off Brian Lees, and putting the Tigers into attack uncontested.
And what about Callaway coming all the way down from the full back line to take that kick? And Richmond with the numbers there. Maxfield, a flying shot at goal. Misses way off to the left-hand side. As a matter of fact, it may have just sneaked in for a behind there to Stuart Maxfield. Richmond 26 scoring shots to just 10 for the Bears, and it brings back memories for the Bears. They've put in some very, very ordinary performances here in Melbourne over the last 3 or 4 seasons. We were looking for them to improve this year with the recruiting that they've done over the summer, but nothing much looks to have changed.
Well, not in Melbourne anyway. They were better against the Swans, although they underrated them in the first couple of quarters. Kick by Fletcher. Taken now by Clark. Snapshot by Troy Clark is off target, and Troy Clark makes his tally for the day. 2 goals, 1.
Well, to be fair to the Brisbane Bears, it is a learning experience, and the powerful interstate sides have trouble when they come to Melbourne. When you look at the list of Bears that are out, Merritt, Lynch, Burke, McAdam, Gastev, and a few others, there's plenty of talent to come back into this side. And when they do, they will be more competitive at all grounds, in particular here in Melbourne.
Tapes kick, Champion now to McLean. McLean down towards right half forward.
That's 50.
That might be 50, yes it is.
He was a second too late, but he was that split second too late and could have pulled up.
So Fletcher has the advantage. A 50-metre penalty.
Fletcher very smart, staying on the ground for a precious few seconds.
Fletcher 13 kicks, 5 hand passes today. One of Brisbane's better players. Looking quickly through the stats, I think he'd be their busiest today. Total of 18. 37 career goals, 67 matches, and hits the post. Can't tell you how many times he's done that. 2 today. 2 behinds today to Adrian Fletcher, 6-6 to 13-13. So the difference now 49 points, and Bullis to again bring the ball back into play. Straight up the ground, low trajectory drop punt, tape, should have perhaps punched from behind. Ashcroft in front, comes up with the football. A lot of hands on that though, and the umpire decides to bounce right on 50.
I know this is a difficult question to answer in a few brief seconds, Gerard, but the Swans were terrific in about, the early 80s. They finished on top of the ladder twice.
86 and 87.
Well, they had to travel. Is it just because you had better players?
Well, I think
or is it the travelling or getting used to it, or what is it?
I think playing in Melbourne is a product of the players you've got, as playing anywhere is. But one of the key differences between the Sydney Swans and perhaps the Eagles and the Crows, and in particular Brisbane, is that when we came back to Melbourne, we were coming to our home state. I look forward to travelling because I was coming home. So perhaps that is one of the key differences. And I think it's also important that it's a lot harder to travel east-west when you're crossing time zones than it is north-south. And that isn't an excuse for the Bears, because they are just going up and down the same time zone. And they've just got to attack their Melbourne games with far greater application and intensity.
Well, they've got a quarter and a half to do something about it on April the 3rd, 1994. Buse can't get clear of the pack. Chapman, little left foot kick was smothered brilliantly by Campbell. Campbell's vision looks for Francis. Francis could kick it off the ground. No, he tries to gather it. Good play by Scott. Scott's handball to Champion. Scott has only played 2 league games, and he did well in that very tight situation back there, Chris Scott, combined with one of their more experienced players, Richard Champion, to clear the ball out of the danger zone.
Yes, well, Chris Scott was drafted from the Eastern Rangers here in Melbourne last season in the November draft. His late father, Colin, was a distinguished flying cross winner in the Vietnam War.
Campbell tries to get it to his captain, Tony Free, and with 9 minutes left, Richmond lead by 49 points in nigh on perfect conditions. Now we've got a pretty well clear blue sky, and you can see the sun shining brightly. So if you're watching from up there in Queensland, we've got a nice day here in Melbourne. Now, Sean Hart. No, it's young Scott there on the bottom of the pack.
Perry.
And going absolutely nowhere.
He's already made a reputation for himself as a real goer in football. Loves the crunches.
He certainly had one there. A bounce, 55 metres out from goal. Kennedy and Gale. Gale had a real... He let one go from the 2 bob seats there. McLean was held as he tried to kick it off the ground. Richmond players are plenty. No one can get a clear kick or hand pass. It shuffled out to Francis eventually. He gets pushed in the back by Pios. All pretty untidy stuff here. And no one's going anywhere. It'll be a bounce in the centre square. 8 minutes left in the third term.
A player in there then, Fabian Francis. 1 kick and 3 hand passes. And the Bears need more from a player of his ability.
He did well in the Foster's Cup too. I remember a match, played a particularly good game. Kennedy, Lehman tries to get clear. Finally, Kennedy, real up and under job. Knights punches it back to midfield, almost as good as a kick. Now Elliott gives it over to Gale. It originally came from Broderick. Gale again, onto Campbell. Richardson at the back, yes! Great mark, he plays on. That was the wrong thing to do. They should still get a goal. They have. It was Rogers again who snapped it. That was his second. 14-13 to 6-6.
Well, 8 goals, 7. It's a big margin now. Ashcroft gets the ball to Craven. Craven's kick in towards half forward, gathered by Starcevic. Bombs away, but it's very, very well smothered off the boot there by Robbins. And he is congratulated by Callaway. So the lousy Richmond defence, they've given away just 12 scoring shots this afternoon, and they're working very well together to try and restrict the Bears' chances in this third quarter. Troy Clark shrugs the tackle, gets his left foot to it and kicks it across towards centre half forward. Marking contest, no one can gather it except Matthew Kennedy. His kick goes up towards full forward. Chance there for Scott, but he's beaten for it by Callaway. Callaway handballs along the boundary line to Michael Gale, and the percentages work out there for Michael Gale. He takes it over for a boundary throw-in as the Bears are about to make another change.
Martin Leslie's been prowling the boundary line for the last 2 minutes.
Boundary throw-in, Darryl White, no, taken away by Michael Gale, runs outside 50 and eventually goes over for another boundary throw-in about 60 metres around from the Bears' goal.
20 possessions to Michael Gale, 13 and 7. Well, they were a good match.
Yes, he's been terrific across that half-back line and just knitted it together with his experience and his determination.
I don't think the Bears have got much to lose. Perhaps they could try Leslie down on Richardson and bring Scotty McIver up the ground.
And Fabian Francis, you were talking about him, they need more from him. Kicks to full forward. No mark taken down there by Scott. Campbell off the ground. Broderick and Kennedy. Broderick again off the ground. Actually kicked it just below the knee. It's out of bounds on centre wing on the outer side with 6 minutes left in the third quarter.
Pretty clear that Leslie would be too slow for Richardson, but he hasn't got many of his marks out on the burst. They've all been wrestling, and Leslie, one of his best strengths, is in the wrestling department. But as I speak, they have changed, and Champion has gone back onto Richardson.
Greg Deer's back on the ground too. Robbins goes to the same barber as Andy Gowers, I think. Barber and Go broke between haircuts with those guys.
Romper stomper.
Gale can combine it well with Campbell, who got the kick. Lees from right centre wing. Out of bounds in front of Maxfield. That'll be a good battle down there with Nathan Chapman.
Surely when you look at both of these sides man for man, it has to be just attitude that created the difference on the scoreboard.
And the venue, I guess.
Yes, good
Keep
comment, I
coming
think,
back
Robbo.
to venues. I can't believe that you play football on an oval pitch. Doesn't matter where you play it. I can't believe that there's that much difference between two teams.
Kick by Francis, gets it up to Gale. Just couldn't bend down quickly enough. McIver will look for a hand pass. And Francis, finally, it's Fabian Francis. Kennedy through some very heavy traffic. Back to Fabian Francis again. He's about doubled his possessions in the space of about a few minutes. Starcevic battling on centre wing. Ball out of bounds next to the interchange area. And it's going to be a throw-in.
And Scott McIver just limping off the ground now. Leslie coming onto the ground. He'll go to centre half back.
Clark to find the player he wanted. Went to Broderick and gets it back again from Naish. Flipped out the front by Free. Craven to Troy Clark at midfield. It's pretty lush there. He kicked that, I noticed. Well, Richmond at the fall of the ball. Tate gives it away to Campbell, who's playing a terrific game.
Player down the ground was Maxfield. He tried to get it in that direction. Chipping in there was Troy Clark. Campbell over the top, and Troy Clark will take the free kick for the Bears. Kicks again at that left foot up towards the 50-metre line. Starcevic goes in high, in towards half-forward. No mark taken. Gale is there. Those Richmond half-backs and full-backs have mopped up beautifully all day long and created attacks from defence. Kick off the ground by Free was good. Maxfield could run onto this. Goes into a goal. No. Handball. But Rogers gets the goal. Terrific play, Tigers.
Third goal of Rogers.
Rogers 3 goals, 2 each to Naish and Wayne Campbell, and 4 to Matthew Richardson, the main goal scorers in that Tiger scoreline of 15-13. The Bears 6 goals, 6.
Well, it's an important time now for the Brisbane Bears in their development. They can either lay down and die and get beaten by 10 or 15 goals, or they can fight back and be respectable on the scoreboard at the end of the day.
Matthew Rogers, a real goal sneak for the Tigers this afternoon. He's got 3 goals. They've all been pretty spectacular. Craven to Matthew Clark. No, Clark a little bit too slow. Deere. Well, great to see him back because he was carried off the ground earlier. Lees got a very hefty whack. Still think he'll have a giant-sized headache tonight. This is Tate from right centre wing. Maxfield, one of the speedier players in the Richmond side. Away he goes. Oh, good long kick down towards full forward. Richardson, terrific football.
One thing about Maxfield, he does off that left foot. He just gets himself into a little bit of space, and he's such a good kick on the run. If you're the full forward leading out, I reckon you'd lick your chops when you saw Stuart Maxfield with the football.
Oh, I can see the tongue from here.
He started on the wing last week, got dragged, didn't have a very good day, and finished the season on a poor note last year, but he is so talented and so quick. He's got a huge future.
4-2 by Matthew Richardson. He won't make it 5-2 with that kick. In fact, he won't add to his score. So not really good effort. Deserved better. The Bears will clear. Craven, who started on the bench today, gives away the hand pass quickly. This is Hart. Hart's kick out towards centre wing, and the mark taken right of the line out there by Jamie Tate. Like what I've seen of him today. It's been a good Richmond performance all round. 3. In fact, it was last week a good fight back. They were down 6 goals and got up to go down by 2 points. Not going to go down today. A much better performance by the Tigers. This is Gale.
The highlight, Pete, has been how even the Tigers have been. They really have had an even spread of good players right across the ground.
Well, Brendan Gale's got the football, but I like the form of his brother, 14 and 7. The best games I've seen him play. Oh, shocking kick. Oh, keep quiet. Give them a wrap. Here's Maxfield again. He kicked a goal from there. Oh, terrific kick.
Is part of the Fosters' 1994 AFL Premiership season.
So Richmond, the easy winners. Where I come from, we call that a thrashing. 2014, 134 to the Bears, 11-6-72. 62 points the margin. The leading goal kickers. And we'll go on to Jared Healy's points. Gale for Richmond, 3. Gale for Richmond also 2. And Francis 1 there.
The 1994 AFL Premiership League Ladder, brought to you by Fosters.
And at this early stage, after the second round, North Melbourne on top with Melbourne's surprise package this year in second position, and Collingwood there as well. 2 great matches coming up tomorrow.
Their debut.